It was supposed to be just another joyful birthday surprise on Ellen's stage. The confetti was ready, the cake was perfect, and 8-year-old Lily Chen stood in the center of the studio wearing a bright pink dress and the biggest smile anyone had ever seen. But when Ellen started singing Happy Birthday, something happened that no one expected. The music stopped, the audience fell silent, and Ellen DeGeneres did something that would change everything. The Ellen DeGeneres Show studio buzzed with its usual Tuesday afternoon energy. Golden light poured through the tall windows, casting warm reflections across the polished blue and white set. The audience of 300 people filled every seat, their excitement palpable as they waited for another episode of daytime television's most beloved show. Ellen bounced onto the stage in her signature style, wearing a crisp white button-down shirt, dark jeans, and a navy blazer that complemented the studio's color scheme. Her short blonde hair caught the studio lights perfectly as she moved with that infectious energy that had made her America's favorite host for over 2 decades. "Welcome back, everybody," Ellen announced, her voice carrying that familiar warmth that made millions of viewers feel like they were visiting with their best friend. "Before we continue with our show, we have a very special birthday surprise for someone very special." The audience erupted in anticipation. Birthday surprises were Ellen's specialty. Those moments where ordinary people became the center of extraordinary celebrations. The camera operators adjusted their positions, ready to capture another heartwarming segment that would likely go viral within hours. "Ladies and gentlemen," Ellen continued, gesturing toward the audience, "today we're celebrating someone who turned 8 years old yesterday, and she's here with her mom and dad all the way from Sacramento. Please help me welcome the birthday girl, Lily Chen." The audience exploded in applause as a small figure in a bright pink dress made her way down the aisle. Lily Chen walked with careful, measured steps, her parents, David and Maria Chen, flanking her with proud smiles. But there was something different about the way Lily moved, something that suggested she was navigating the world through senses other than sound. Ellen knelt down as Lily approached the stage, immediately noticing the small hearing devices in the girl's ears and the way her parents communicated with subtle hand gestures. Ellen's expression shifted from her typical television enthusiasm to something more genuine, more attentive. "Hi, beautiful," Ellen said softly, speaking clearly so Lily could read her lips. "Happy birthday." Lily's face lit up with pure joy. She had been practicing this moment for weeks, watching Ellen's show with her parents, dreaming of the day she might meet her hero. In her small hands, she clutched a handmade card covered in glitter and heart stickers. "Thank you, Ellen," Lily said, her voice carrying the distinctive cadence of someone who had learned to speak without fully hearing their own words. "I made this for you." Ellen accepted the card with the reverence she reserved for gifts from children, knowing that whatever was inside had been created with more love and care than any expensive present she'd ever received. The card was covered in drawings of rainbows, flowers, and stick figures dancing together. Inside, in careful 8-year-old handwriting, Lily had written, "Dear Ellen, you make people happy even when they can't hear your jokes. Thank you for teaching me that different is beautiful. Love, Lily." Ellen felt something shift inside her chest as she read those words. This wasn't just another birthday surprise anymore. This was a moment that demanded something more than confetti and cake. "Lily," Ellen said, making sure to face her directly so the girl could read her lips clearly, "this is the most beautiful card I've ever received. Would you like to have your birthday celebration right here on stage with all of us?" Lily nodded enthusiastically, her eyes sparkling with excitement. Ellen took her hand and led her to the center of the stage, where a rolling cart appeared with a magnificent 3-layer birthday cake covered in pink frosting and rainbow sprinkles. "Everybody," Ellen announced to the audience, Let's sing Happy Birthday to Lily. The studio erupted in song. 300 voices joined together in the familiar melody, their enthusiasm filling every corner of the space. Ellen began to sing along, her voice carrying over the chorus as she watched Lily's face for her reaction. But something was wrong. Instead of the joy Ellen expected to see, Lily's expression began to change. Her smile faltered, her small hands moved to her ears, and Ellen could see her touching the hearing aids with a look of frustration and sadness that no 8-year-old should ever have to carry. Ellen's voice trailed off first. Then, as if by instinct, she raised her hand to signal the audience to stop singing. The music died away, leaving an confused silence hanging in the studio air. "Lily?" Ellen asked softly, kneeling down to the girl's eye level. "What's wrong, sweetheart?" Lily looked up at Ellen with tears beginning to form in her eyes. She glanced toward her parents in the audience, then back at Ellen. When she spoke, her voice was so quiet that the studio microphones barely picked it up. "I can't hear the song anymore," Lily whispered. Ellen felt her heart skip a beat. "What do you mean, honey?" Lily's small hands moved to her hearing aids again, and Ellen could see her struggling with something much bigger than birthday celebration nerves. "They stopped working last week," Lily said, her voice breaking slightly. "Mom and Dad can't afford to fix them right now. I've been pretending I could still hear everything because I didn't want them to worry more than they already do." The studio fell into a silence so complete that the hum of the air conditioning seemed loud. Ellen looked out at David and Maria Chen, sitting in the front row with expressions that revealed they had just learned this information, along with everyone else in the studio. Ellen made a decision that would define not just this episode, but her understanding of what her platform could really accomplish. She stood up slowly, her mind racing through everything she knew about this little girl who had been carrying such a heavy secret just to protect her parents' feelings. Ellen walked to the edge of the stage and spoke directly to her production team. "Stop everything," she said quietly, but with an authority that left no room for question. "We're not doing a birthday show anymore. We're doing something else." Behind the scenes, producers looked at each other uncertainly. This wasn't in the script, this wasn't how television worked, but Ellen had earned the trust of everyone who worked with her, and they knew that when she made a decision like this, there was a reason. Ellen walked back to Lily, who was now openly crying, the weight of her secret finally released after days of pretending everything was fine. "Lily," Ellen said, gently taking the girl's hands in her own, "you are the bravest person I've ever met. Do you know why?" Lily shook her head, wiping her eyes with the back of her hand. "Because you've been protecting your parents' hearts while your own was breaking," Ellen continued. "That's not something an 8-year-old should have to do, but you did it anyway because you loved them. That's what heroes do." Ellen turned to address the entire studio, her voice carrying a gravity that transcended entertainment. "Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to do something different today. We're going to show Lily that she doesn't have to carry this alone anymore." Ellen gestured to her parents in the audience. "Mr. and Mrs. Chen, would you please come up here?" David and Maria Chen made their way to the stage, their faces showing a mixture of pride, heartbreak, and hope. When they reached their daughter, they immediately enveloped her in a hug that seemed to contain every emotion a parent could feel. "Lily told us something today that I think you need to hear," Ellen said gently. "She's been protecting you from knowing that her hearing aids stopped working because she didn't want you to worry about the cost of fixing them." Maria Chen brought her hand to her mouth, tears immediately filling her eyes. David Chen's jaw tightened as he processed what this meant, what his daughter had been going through alone. "Sweetheart," Maria said, kneeling down to Lily's level, "you never have to protect us from the truth. We're your parents. It's our job to take care of you, not the other way around." But Ellen wasn't finished. She had been thinking about this moment, about what it meant, about what she could do that would matter not just today, but for Lily's entire future. Lily, Ellen said, I want to teach you something. Are you ready? Lily nodded, curiosity replacing some of the sadness in her expression. Ellen began to move her hands in deliberate, graceful gestures. She was signing, her movements careful and clear as she spelled out letters and formed words in American Sign Language. HAPPYBIRTHDAY. Ellen signed, speaking the words aloud as she moved her hands. Lily's eyes widened with surprise and delight. She began to giggle, the first truly joyful sound she'd made since arriving at the studio. You know sign language? Lily asked. I learned some when I was younger, Ellen replied, continuing to sign as she spoke. And I think it's beautiful. Just like you. Ellen turned to the audience, most of whom were now openly emotional, as they watched this interaction. Everybody, Ellen announced, we're going to learn something new today. We're going to sing Happy Birthday to Lily in a way that she can see and feel. Ellen began to teach the audience basic signs for Happy Birthday. The studio transformed into an impromptu sign language classroom, with 300 people moving their hands in unison, learning to communicate in a new way. But the magic really happened when they began to sing together. The audience signed the words while Ellen spoke them aloud, creating a visual symphony that filled the stage with movement and meaning. Lily stood in the center of it all, her face radiant as she watched hundreds of people learning her language just for her. As the song concluded, Ellen had one more surprise. Lily, she said, I want you to know that your hearing aids are going to be fixed. In fact, we're going to make sure you have the best hearing technology available, and we're going to make sure your family never has to worry about the cost of your medical needs again. The audience erupted in applause, but Ellen held up her hand for quiet. But more than that, Ellen continued, I want you to remember something. You are perfect exactly as you are. Whether you're hearing or deaf, whether you use hearing aids or sign language or both, you are beautiful and valuable and important. Ellen knelt down and looked directly into Lily's eyes. Different isn't something to hide from, Lily. Different is your superpower. Lily threw her arms around Ellen's neck, and in that moment, everyone in the studio understood that they had witnessed something far more important than a birthday celebration. They had watched a little girl learn that she didn't have to carry her burdens alone, and they had learned that true communication comes from the heart, not just. After the cameras stopped rolling, Ellen sat with the Chen family on the dimmed stage, the atmosphere now intimate and private. Mrs. Chen, Ellen said softly, how long has this been going on? Maria's composure finally cracked. 6 months, she whispered. David lost his job when the factory closed, and our insurance doesn't cover everything. The hearing aids cost more than we make in 3 months. David struggled to find words. We never wanted her to know we were struggling. She's just a kid. Ellen took both parents' hands. You're incredible parents, but you don't have to carry this alone anymore. Lily tugged on Ellen's sleeve and began to sign something she had learned online. Thank you for making my parents smile again, Lily signed. Ellen felt something break open in her chest. This 8-year-old had been more concerned about her parents' well-being than her own needs. Ellen arranged for Lily to meet Dr. Sarah Williams, a deaf pediatric audiologist, who fitted her with advanced devices and became her mentor, showing Lily that being deaf was simply another way of experiencing the world. The episode's impact continued expanding. The studio received thousands of letters from families with similar challenges. Ellen created Different is Beautiful, a monthly segment where children with various abilities could share their stories. Lily became the program's first ambassador. The episode also caught the attention of technology companies who reached out to offer support for families who couldn't afford assistive devices. What started as one little girl's birthday surprise became a movement that provided hearing aids, cochlear implants, and other assistive technologies to hundreds of families across the country. 6 months later, when Lily returned to Ellen's show, she walked onto the stage with confidence that seemed to radiate from every step. Her new hearing aids were nearly invisible, and her smile was even brighter than before. But the most remarkable change was in her voice as she spoke to Ellen. "I've been practicing," Lily announced proudly. "I want to teach everyone something new today." This time, Lily took the teacher role, showing Ellen and the audience advanced sign language while explaining how deaf culture was rich and beautiful and valuable. She taught them that being deaf wasn't about what she couldn't do, but about all the amazing things she could do. "Some people think being deaf is sad," Lily signed and spoke simultaneously. "But I get to see music. I get to feel sounds through my whole body. I get to talk with my hands, which means I can have quiet conversations across the room. Being deaf is just another way to be human." The audience gave her a standing ovation. But this time, they applauded in the deaf community's way, with raised hands and wiggling fingers, creating a visual wave of appreciation that Lily could see and feel. Ellen's eyes filled with tears as she watched this transformation. The scared, secret-keeping 8-year-old had become a confident teacher and advocate, all because someone had taken the time to listen and understand. The episode that aired 3 weeks later became one of the most watched in the Ellen DeGeneres Show's history. But more importantly, it sparked a national conversation about accessibility, inclusion, and the power of understanding. Lily Chen, now equipped with state-of-the-art hearing aids and fluent in both spoken and sign language, became a young advocate for deaf and hard-of-hearing children. She appeared on Ellen's show regularly, each time teaching something new about deaf culture and accessibility. And Ellen? She enrolled in intensive sign language classes, determined to be ready the next time someone needed to be seen and heard in a different way. She also learned that the most important conversations often happen not through words but through presence, understanding, the willingness to step outside your comfort zone to meet someone in theirs. The handmade birthday card that Lily gave Ellen still sits framed in Ellen's dressing room, a daily reminder that the most important moments happen when you stop performing and start listening, not just with your ears, but with your heart. Sometimes the most beautiful songs are the ones you can see, and the most powerful birthdays are the ones that teach us something new about what it means to be human.